Greetings, heroes. Thanks for tuning in today. Here I have a new tool that I've been working on called Ingest, and I'd like to teach you a little bit more about it here. So for starters, it's built to solve a problem on my workflow between my screen recorder and my new video editor. So I'm using OBS on Linux here, specifically Ubuntu, and recording down to FLV. So I have a test file here, for example, and that works great for uploading straight to YouTube or for video streaming. It's fairly efficient. However, the video editor that I'm wanting to try out is called Davinci Resolve, and the free version on Linux doesn't have a very wide file and codec support. So I've written a tool to try and help convert, for one, convert files to the format that the video editor can support, and two, be able to do that in a batch job. So here's how it works is we call the ingest script, and then it wants a file type for the input file. And so for this, I want it to search for FLV files in this folder. And then it also needs an output file type. So in my case, MOV is going to be the most supported. So I'll go ahead and kick this off, and then we'll dive in here. So I've got pretty good documentation going on, kind of to give an idea of where the project is going and where I'd like to see it progress. So you can find it on github.com/hawkj1/ingest. And then I've got some debug code here. So quick uncomment and it's available. And then documentation to kind of keep track of what the project is all about. And then some of the parameters I would like to support in the future. And then this here shows basic bash script parameter handling. So just a good reminder. And then we get into the MVP, or minimum viable product. And so this is kind of the bare minimum that I needed to get the project up and going, where I felt comfortable with starting to use it. So I've got a little bit more debug code here available. And then it does some parameter checks. And if all those clear, then it starts kicking off the main portion of it. And so it's assuming, the way I've got it set up right now is it assumes that the folder where you kick it off from is the folder where you want it to search through. And then you just call it from where it's been downloaded or copied to from within that folder. That way you're not having to copy the script to all of your video folders. And then it does a little bit of modification to some of the parameters that you give it, a little bit of cleanup. And then it starts the loop to be able to go through each file. It does a check to see if that file type exists. And if it does, it starts encoding. And I'm using ffmpeg to convert from your desired input type. And then right now it's hard-coded to do DNxHD for the codec, but then it's flexible on the file output type. So I'm trying to keep this as flexible as I can, but for the time being, for testing purposes, it's portions of it are hard-coded. So then, because of an issue with the codec discrepancies and support with Davinci Resolve 15, at least the free version on Linux, I can't really use MP4, and I definitely can't use FLV. And so I'm spitting out to MOV, but a specific codec. And then, interestingly enough, I couldn't get the codecs to align where I could use an MOV for everything and handle the audio support. So I'm making a secondary pass on the file to extract and convert the audio, which I think is default AAC format, and converting that to PCM wave. That portion happens very, very fast. It's the encoding of the video that takes some time. So here you see we've got our files. So our original FLV is 25.4 meg, and then our MOV with our DNX HD codec is coming out around 2 gig, and then our PCM wave file is 30.9 meg. So I'll go ahead and fire up Davinci Resolve here. And then once that gets loaded, we'll start a nice clean project and then show you some of the issues I was running into. Okay, new project. We'll just call it test. All right, so here we are in the Davinci Resolve video editor. I'll pull up our folder here. And then, as you'll see here, if I drag and drop the FLV file, it just doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So we'll test our conversion with MOV, drop it in here, and it detects that it's a slightly different frame rate, so we'll go ahead and change the project to match. And then, for time's sake, I'll go ahead and drop in our wave file. Drag our movie to the timeline, and it populates here with our footage. So that's looking great. Now, noticing here the audio, it's blank. So I'll go ahead and unlink this clip. So I'll show you a little bit of the workflow here that I figured out. Unlink and then select in a blank spot to deselect them, and then select just the audio and hit backspace. Now, delete and backspace do two different things in this editor, so be mindful of that. And then I'll go ahead and add the wave file, and since it's the exact same length as our original video, I'll just get them lined up here and select both of them. I'm holding shift and clicking, or I think you can, yep, you can drag and select, and then right click, and then go ahead and link these clips back together. So now I'm good to go. I can shift this clip along the timeline. I can make my splices or edits, and that audio is going to stay synced up. So from here, I can finish my edits and then export to whatever file format I can. And if it's supported, export for something like YouTube, then great. If not, then I'm sure I'll be working on ingest even more to then transcode back down to something that's appropriate for the web. So I hope you've found this tool to be as interesting as I have, and this workflow to be as exciting as I have. Quality video editing on a completely Linux workstation. That gets me really revved up and excited for what this year has in store for us. So there it is. I'll have the link to the GitHub repository in the video description. And with that, have an awesome day.